Was he like your surf TM?
Yeah, he kind of looks like a really...
Wait, let's back up for a hot minute. Did someone just use a Pokemon fucking reference and bitches about it? We're playing Pokemon Snap now, bitch.
Welcome to the Spin Dash Retro Gaming Podcast. Prepare yourself for the joy of classic gaming. Fired straight into your delicate little ear holes. Fire away.
Welcome to the Spin Dash Retro Gaming Podcast, a bi-weekly look at the old games we loved through the lens of three marginally functional human beings. This is our first episode in 2021. Where we have some new listeners, just a quick refresher, in this show, we each take turns picking games up to and including the 6th generation, which is Dreamcast, PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. The person picking the game then hosts. My name is Matt, and I am this week's host. With me, as always, my extremely sexual and violent co-hosts, Nick and John. Happy New Year, you fucks.
Hi.
That was pretty glum, chum. Happy New Year, fellas.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
So, Nick, I'll start with you.
Oh, yay.
How much have you had to drink already, and what are you drinking tonight?
I am doing cotton candy vodka because that's what's left in the freezer. Oh, no, wait. Is it cotton candy? Let's see. It's Pinnacle. Oh, sorry. It's Tropical Punch mixed with orange soda. And I may have a lovely pill to join that one to make me forget the world.
Oh my god.
This is very bleak.
And I thought 2020 was bad. 2021 is not off to a good start.
We mean not off a good start.
Hey, it's only gonna get better from here, right? Starting out low.
This is the extreme low. Popping pills and drinking girl drinks. He's like the Marilyn Monroe of our show.
Uh-oh.
That'd make you my JFK.
Just decreased.
Would you say you're going to be the JFK?
I said that'd make you my JFK.
Oh, shit. John, what are you drinking tonight?
I got a Shipyard Prelude lager. It's pretty good. About a 12-pack. You know, keeping it modest. Not going to drown my sorrows too bad, even though I think I finally understand what seasonal depression is.
Well, you've got 2020 working against you, so...
Yeah, 9 months of working at home in the same spot, and I can't, sit outside and enjoy my patio. That was nice. That was a decent perk about working from home is you just pop outside for a while, hang out, had a nice little deck set up, comfy furniture out there. It was pretty good. But now I'm cold, and my dog whines at me for food all the time, so here we are.
Welcome to darkness in Maine. Darkness. Yeah. So, I am drinking some bourbon on the rocks tonight. My past couple of times, it's really gotten cash in your man card bad. So I needed to try to rectify that in 2021. Get off on the right foot. The opposite approach, I think, of Nick, who's just Nick's bottom of the barrel right now.
Hey, we all can't be classy cunts.
All right, gents. What have you been picking up? What have you been playing?
I don't know. I feel like
Nick, you go first.
No, I think Matt should go first.
Okay.
He's the host.
All right, fair enough. So for my birthday, I got Mario Kart 8, so I'm excited to bust that bad boy out.
All right.
I also picked up Hybrid Heaven for N64. That one's going to make it on our list eventually, and I don't know if it's going to end up like a Body Harvest and that we really regret it, but we're going to be playing that at some point.
Ooh.
Trying to think what else I picked up. There was a sale on the Switch. I finally downloaded that Soul Seraph game that everyone was talking about. I thought it was just for Xbox, but it's basically the spiritual successor to ActRaiser. I maybe played 5 minutes of it. It runs like shit on handheld mode. Not bad off the screen. I'm going to give it a fair shot. So far, I'm kind of meh on it. But it was inspired by ActRaiser, so I had to give it a chance. How about you guys?
Nick, go ahead.
Well, because I didn't want to feel lonely not picking up anything. I was out canvassing for my job, and I was in an area I wasn't used to, so I went to the local Goodwill, and I found a Nintendo GameCube game for $2.50. It is the great Disney classic Tarzan Untamed. But
Right.
I went to go try it out, and my Wii won't start.
No.
I think it's a power. I'm hoping it's just a power supply. So if one of you kind sirs would mind next time you come through and bring a power supply so I can just test out and make sure everything's kosher, and I just have to buy a new power supply, that'd be much appreciated.
There's nothing worse than a Wii that a non-functional Wii. Insert impotency joke here, please.
Yeah.
Probably me after my drinking tonight.
Oh, God. Nicole, stand back.
Well, you do have a recipe for disaster right now, man.
It's okay. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
John, what do you get?
John.
What do you get?
What did I get? Since last month, no games, but I did get SNES Classic.
Ooh.
Oh.
I try to keep my shopping to Marketplace just because, people are looking to get rid of things, and one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I kind of like doing that. And plus, you get good deals. So I got that a couple days ago, fired it up, works great. Did not come with a box, so the value, for if I wanted to resell it, probably isn't there. Because I see some with the boxes go for I could make a good profit if I had the box. But I'll load it up with all the SNES ROMs, that we got kicking around, and then have something to play rather than lug my 90-pound CRT TV up onto a stand and try to play a game and then have my kid ninja kick it again, lose my save file.
There's some good selections on that, John.
Oh yeah, and I watched a couple of videos on how to upload your ROMs to it, and it seems pretty easy, so that's cool. And then my debacle. So I think several episodes ago, I had picked up a copy of Wind Waker in a bag from someone just selling games that they thought were Xbox related, and so I was happy to get Wind Waker, and I just kind of put the Xbox aside. It was a 360 with a couple controllers and games, all loose, just random stuff. And it was kicking around, so I figured I'd list it again and see if anybody would buy the Xbox. And I went to test it before I sold it. And not only did it not have a hard drive, but even with a hard drive and different power sources and everything, it still wouldn't even turn on. I didn't get the red ring of death. I got nothing. So I took it apart, and I think whoever had this had children that loved to just throw soda at everything because it looked like it was covered in sludge. Yeah, it was bad news. So I relisted it with the stipulation that it does not work, and I went into full detail about how I think there's a game stuck in there. The most valuable game that I got out of that lot is stuck in the Xbox. So that's great.
What game?
I was like Black Ops 2 with some map pack. I did my research, and I think that game's like $15 or like $18. I don't know. But yeah, it's been quite the ordeal and rather funny that I can't sell it.
Look at you being all honest. You didn't list it like as is. It worked the last time I tried it.
Yeah.
That
I made out all right with that Zelda game, so I figured that I got some good karma, and I don't want to disrupt my mojo by trying to swindle somebody.
Well, we could have added Wind Waker to our list, but someone's got a flaccid Wii on our hands. Nothing worse than that.
Right?
Cunt.
Yeah. Well, boys, so anything new you want to share before we approach the turbo round?
The turbo round?
I've got nothing new on the news front. Absolutely nothing. Boring couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing here. I mean, I've been on the approach just because of the way my job is. It takes me different places. So I think each new town I stop in, I'm going to hit the local dive spot for be at Goodwill or see if I can find some good games. I think that's my new approach because I just need to find my library. And I'm on a hunt for another handheld. So.
Yep. Well, Godspeed.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Maine's pretty dry for that type of stuff.
Maine's dry in general. I've had good luck on eBay. I have not had good luck rolling around. I used to go and check Goodwill, on my lunch break. I don't know. The best I found there was a copy of Halo 1, and it was scratched all the shit.
So I'll say the game I got, the Tarzan Untamed, it's actually in really good condition. Like
We should add it to your list if we get your Wii going.
Oh, it's going into the list. It's going on the list just for the sake of having it on the fucking list.
The first GameCube game we get to play is Tarzan.
The first time anyone's ever played that fucking game, too.
I've done no research other than I did a price charting to see what it is, and I at least doubled my money. That's all I can say.
I love it.
Wow. It's great. Great times.
All right, gents. So, we have not done a turbo round, I believe, since Battle of Olympus.
Oh, the best game in the world, right?
That absolutely, I'll take that to my grave. So we haven't done one since Battle of Olympus. So, quick refresher for our new listeners, or a clarification for our new listeners. The turbo round is a series of questions that I ask the other hosts, and the idea is that they provide a quick response, quick reaction to what I've asked them as a question. It's basically giving a Rorschach test to monkeys. I want to get the dumb answers out of my fellow co-hosts here. We used to do the turbo button round at the end, but my hope was if we did it at the start, it would get that alcohol and those pain meds for Nick coursing through our veins really quick. It'll
get it done.
Get us moving into the game. So, gents, who's drunker right now?
Me.
Yeah, definitely John.
Nick, all right.
Give me 5 minutes, I'll be there.
Nick, you will go second. All right, here we go. John, are you ready?
I'm ready, man.
Nick, are you ready?
Oh, let's go.
Sword beam or throwing a sword?
Sword beam.
Sword beam.
Items or companions?
Companions.
Items.
Nick, this is to you. John is an animal. What are they?
Flying squirrel.
John, Nick is an animal. What is he?
Walrus.
To each of you, what superpower does your opposite co-host grant you?
Stealth.
Superpower that he grants me.
An ability, yeah.
So,
Superpower.
I'll clarify. Invisibility.
John, you're struggling.
Yeah, I know. Sonic Boom.
Well
Okay,
played.
Street Fighter.
All right. What valuable game do you want in your collection right now?
Oh, fuck. So this is our dream?
Dream. You will have it tomorrow.
Oh, fuck.
Mario 1 and Duck Hunt for Nick.
Nick, you're going first, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's hard.
Speed, Nick. Speed.
Castle of Illusion in box.
Okay, John.
Earthbound.
All right. If it's sealed, do you guys open it?
No.
No.
All right. You guys can talk to a plant or animal. What do you ask it?
Do you get hard?
I'd ask a tree what its perfect day would be.
That's very deep. I like where Nick was going on that one. All right. You can go back in time and fix one gaming-related thing. What would you fix?
E.T.
The 64 controller.
Bold. All right, and the last one to both of you. Your opposite co-host collects all the medals. What prize do you award them? Nick, to you, what prize would you award John for collecting gold, silver, and bronze medals?
Gold, silver. 10 inches.
You'd give him a bigger dick for collecting medals?
I just said 10 inches. To where he wants those 10 inches is up to him.
You're obsessed with dicks.
No, I might be drunker than you, let's be honest.
Wow. Nick, I'd give you the Beer King trophy because that's the only way you're ever going to get it.
Oh, burn.
He cuts him. Cuts his soul.
I'll slap.
And with that, we have probably the second most absurd turbo round that we've done so far. We haven't got into Nick the God of Depression, but that was...
Nick's the god of phalluses now.
Giving John an extra 10 inches. That's... Nice work. Nice work, gents. Wow. Maybe people could figure out from listening to that the game of the week this week is in fact Crusader of Centy for the Genesis. Do either of you two have any experience with this game?
None whatsoever, and I feel shamed for not having any experience.
Yeah, same. Nick and I agree on that one.
Yeah, I have played a little bit of this one on emulators here and there, but it never really caught my attention, and I kind of just moved on. You know, I knew of it, but that was about it. So, kind of a fresh playthrough for me, too, so new for all of us. Either you guys know anything about the development or release of this one?
I mean, besides, obviously, what I've read, but, like, I knew nothing of this game. Like, it wasn't even on my radar, and I thought I was a pretty big Sega fan. But, yeah, this one, nothing came up. I wish I knew about this as a kid, because we played it and it's been good, so.
John, you know anything about the development on this one, or you're fresh as well?
Pretty fresh on this. I think you had mentioned it a few years back, but I didn't look into it. Just, I had that Sega bias, so I didn't pay it any mind. It was sometime around 95, 94.
Yeah, so the game was released in Japan in June of 94.
Okay.
In the European Union region in January 95, hit North America in March of 95, then Australia in April. It was developed by a company called Nextech, and basically this company is one where other companies would hire them out just to make a game by contract. They'd go to them and be like, hey, I want you to make this, make such and such a game, and then they'd make it. So it was developed by Nextech. It was published by Sega in Japan and the European Union, and it was published by Atlas in the US. More on that later. The timing of this one came out really when the console wars were in full swing. I'd argue that they were about to end in November of 95 that year, just because that's when in 94, I'm sorry, because that's when Donkey Kong Country dropped. I kind of view that as the end of the whole console war between Sega and Nintendo. Pretty much that's when Nintendo dropped the nuke. Sega had a lack of RPGs at this time compared to the Super Nintendo. One thing to remember is that Sega did very well in North America with its sports titles, but it had a hard time in Japan. It actually, I think, was like the third place console over there, behind even the PC Engine, which is our TurboGrafx over here. So Sega announced this initiative, this mega role-playing project, where they were going to bring 7 RPGs to the Genesis at the tail end of its life cycle. Yeah. So those 7 were Crusader of Centy, Shining Force CD, Beyond Oasis, which you guys might have heard of that one. That's another one that makes the rounds. A game called After Armageddon Gaiden. A game called Surging Aura. Now, I've followed this one for a while, hoping that we get it translated. So far, it's only been translated in French and Russian, so that's a no-go for us. The last two, Dragon Slayer, Legend of Heroes 1 and Legend of Heroes 2. John, you might know that franchise because you own a game in the series. I believe Faxanadu is in the Legend of Heroes. Maybe that's the Dragon Slayer series. I get those mixed up.
Possibly. I didn't even know I owned that until you tell me every time.
I want it on the list. So, last things on the development. When bringing this game to the U.S., Sega actually took a pass on it. They published Beyond Oasis instead, and this left Centy without a publisher, and Atlas picked it up. Atlas is known for publishing in small quantities, which is why I think on our ActRaiser episode, I joked around like, if you were going to invest in games, buy anything published by Atlas. So this game originally sold for $69.99 back in the day. I just checked on it. A loose cartridge currently sells for $400 to $500. Sealed, you're looking over $2,000. I found one on eBay the other day that was $6,000 for a sealed copy. So that's a little rich for our blood. So needless to say, we all emulated this one. One thing that I did forget to mention earlier, in the U.S., this is known as Crusader of Centy. In the European Union, it's known as Soleil, and in Japan, it's known as Ragna Centy. So different names in all regions.
Ragna.
Story. Either one of you two gents like to take a stab at this one.
Nick, go ahead.
So story. Apparently, when you come 14, you are given a sword because you have to become a man, and you have to fight for your kingdom. In this one, you start talking to animals so you can stop or save the world again. And that's about what I got from it. Oh, and the character's name is Corona. So apparently we have Corona going around attacking everything and trying to stop the end of the world, unlike our Corona, which is causing the end of the world.
I'm pretty sure I picked this game not knowing that his name was Corona. And then I found out, and it's like, oh god, this podcast is supposed to be like an escape from Corona, and we're right back in.
Right back there, man.
Throw us there, in there.
So, John, anything you want to add to that, or can I throw my findings?
So this one was pretty unique. I mean, you get the quest narrative, but then it throws in a bunch of other tropes, like there's a twister and you got to get some magic shoes. And then like you have to slaughter all the monsters and, banish them. And it's not their fault. So like, you're the oppressor. It's really odd how many things they kind of combine into this.
This game is known for being kind of a Zelda clone. And to be honest with you, you know what? And I mentioned this to you today, John. I got a lot of vibes of Illusion of Gaia with this one because I find it interesting when games kind of take this moralistic tone. They kind of have this like, we're going to teach you some deep morals to help better yourselves. But they do it in a game where things are comedic at the same time. You end up with these like, it's really strange. Like you walk away from the game and it's like, I don't know if that is the message that I think you were trying to say to me. Like this is very, very odd. So just kind of sum up a couple things. In the opening crawl, it talks about how humans and monsters have roamed the earth and for whoever knows, no one knows how long they've been doing this. One day, this beam of light hit the earth and all the monsters perished or went underground, but they didn't go away. So they start to surface again. It cuts to you. It's on your birthday. You're 14. Your mom it doesn't want to, but it's the law. Like, it is actually the law that you have to be given a sword on your birthday, apparently. Your dad's dead, so you get his sword. He died fighting monsters. And from there, you have to go and talk to the king, I believe, because it is the law. And you're basically sent out on a journey to become, I guess, the hero warrior and find out what's going on with these monsters. Along the way, you lose the ability to speak to humans and can only speak to plants and animals. You eventually learn that the monsters were sucked from their dimension, put in ours, and are unable to get back. So there's this whole moralistic tone of what's going on with these monsters. We're killing them. They just want to go back to their own world. Very strange. And on paper, what I just read, that quick summary, it's not really a deep game, but the story is very, very, very odd. Like, it has weird sections. Like, I think it's maybe a better place to tie it in when we talk about the gameplay of this. Like, just some of the weird stuff this game throws at you when we go through it. Gameplay. What is this game, guys? Like, how would you describe this?
It's a top-down RPG with, I don't know, it's nifty because you have like the ability to jump, which was during this time was like, you really didn't see that, and it's not like it's weird because you don't really gain levels either, so you're not really like gaining extra stuff. You just gain like abilities as you go through, which gives you the ability to, like, you can customize your character. It's I don't know what you officially would call it. Fun.
Fun works. I think it's an action RPG, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I just call these adventure games because Zelda. I got Zelda really early on when I was a kid. Link to the Past, and then that kind of started my infatuation with this type of game. The top-down exploration. You have a certain amount of hearts. You got bosses. You know, you're not leveling up, but you are collecting things along the way. So I think it's a toss-up for me between this type of game and like real-time strategy as my favorite.
Yeah. You know, this game is often referred to as a Zelda clone, and it takes a lot of similar things that you'd see in Link to the Past. And I think that's the best game to compare it to. Because I think there's a lot of similarities. But, you know, your A button is your sword, and where a difference from Zelda is, like, Zelda, you hold down, was it the B button? I can't remember hold down your sword button and you do a spin. Here, you hold down your sword button and you throw your sword after learning the ability. Nick, you're spot on. It's weird. I know there are some games that are, you know, action RPGs where there's jump, but that definitely varies. This is different from Zelda in that jumping is such a big part of this game. It's almost like
must.
It's like Link's Awakening. It's kind of got that feel to it.
Yeah.
And then I think the big thing that separates the two, at least in my mind, and you guys can talk about this, the C button controls your animals. This game's different than Zelda in that Zelda, you run around, you're collecting different items to do things. And in this, you
get animal partners.
Animals.
That was a fun feature of it. I liked them. Some were pretty useless. I didn't touch them at all. But yeah, it was good having that cheetah. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I want to say the first animal you get is, I can't remember how the game progresses. You go to like a county fair or something like that. There's like you track down a fortune teller, and she's the one that I think takes away your ability to speak to humans.
Yeah, she
does.
And
then grants you and I think the first animal you get's your dog.
Yeah, you go back home and the dog's like, oh, hey man, yeah, I'll come with you. Wait, did he serve any function? Like, you bring him out front and he holds them there, like the enemies, right?
It's weird. Like, I think if you hit like C, it like stops him. And if an enemy is walking around, and runs past the dog, like they'll stick to the dog. So, like, you can just go beat the hell out of him with a sword. The dog was useless. I never used the dog.
Me neither.
The only real use that you get out of the dog is that the dog kind of vouches for you, and eventually that's how you talk to the rabbit.
You gotta get
and
your
the
jump.
rabbit gives you the ability to jump.
Yeah.
Teaches you to jump.
And I don't know if you guys caught this. And I was mentioning this to you earlier that, like, I think if you don't pay attention to the text to this game, you kind of just like walk your way through it. Like, this seems like a normal game. But if you really like spend a lot of time looking at the text, the game is like completely absurd. So you talk to the bunny, and the way that you learn how to jump, basically the game says that you never had the courage to jump before. And that after talking to the rabbit, you gain the courage to jump. So like you're 14 years old and you've never jumped.
That's weird.
Well, what's even more weird is, like, so you're in this section. So the rabbit is located in this Dahlia Valley. Like, you leave the town. The town you live in is Soleil. And the first area you go is this Dahlia Valley. And your first boss you have to fight is this wolf. And I don't know if this is a play on, like, Little Red Riding Hood or something, because there's so many of these, like, weird fairy tales wrapped up into this game. But, like, the wolf is in this house, and you have to, like, fall down this waterfall to get in there. But the wolf attacks you by hitting itself in the head with a hammer. And then the little stars, like the cartoon stars, you know, like the birds
Yeah.
and stuff, that's what he attacks you with.
Yeah, that was weird. That was goofy. And then it changes and it gets dark, you know?
And that's the thing that was weird to me about this game is, like, it would be completely silly, and then it would try to teach you, like, this deep, you know, are we the bad guy, you know, type thing.
Yeah.
But it did it in such a ham-fisted way that you're just like, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah, it interspersed all these little goofy things with serious undertones.
So explain to me the serious undertone part.
Well, like, the monsters are trying to rebel, and the humans are trying. That's the whole goal of the humans is to crush the monsters, and they've been battling for, I don't know how long it says, but it seems like, you know, it's that eternal struggle is the theme of the game to banish the monsters. And here you go, your dad died. Here's your sword. Now go do your thing. Oh, you'll die too, like everybody else. Take some monsters with you, that type of thing.
What cracks me up about that whole thing, what I found really weird is, like, I think they kind of hint at this early on when, like, you go into the church and you're talking to the girl and she's like, why can't we all get along? It's like, yeah, whatever, shut up, hippie. And then, like, later on, you get turned into a slime and you're talking to this, like, family of slimes and, like, why is the hero, you know, heroes are doing hero things, they're hunting us down, we just want to live, you know, our life, right?
Yeah.
So the game, like, imparts this, like, oh, maybe they aren't the bad guy thing.
Right.
As soon as you get turned back into a human, you go right back to mowing them down. Like, oh man, I guess I'm gonna learn nothing from this. Let the genocide continue.
That guy, the guy that was trying to kill the slime, scared me because every time you come out of that treehouse, he just, like, run out of the friggin' woods and try to freaking stomp on you.
Oh my god. Some of the other text things, I know we're just jumping around on this one because the game is so random. I don't know how we're going to talk about this one without, like, jumping around, but you're at your birthday party, like, jumping back, and you get your sword and you're like, oh yeah, I got the sword. Like, you talk to one of your friends and it's like, I got a real sword, one that's not, like, it's brand new. It's not rusty and crappy like yours. So then, like, that same kid later on, like, you have this whole thing, and we can talk about getting the medals later, but once you get all the medals in this thing, and you go up and you get the badass sword from the king after collecting all the medals,
Yeah.
you go back and you talk to him, and you're like, you've got the sword, and he just goes, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. It's like, oh my god, this.
Did you talk to him before that? Before you went? Like, he goes, hey, can I have one of those medals? And you say no, and he's like, you prick.
Yeah, It cheapens something else. I can't remember what the other thing is. I want to say shifty, but that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, he made up like it was a funny word. I remember that. But so one correlation that I kind of made with that whole like that guy's waiting to stomp you when you're the slime. Yeah. Do you remember in the Lost Woods in Link to the Past where there are those robber guys and they see you and they run after you? It almost was that same animation, like this hurried guy. He's like, doing the cartoon run and he's trying to get you, stealing your shit or killing you.
It's so I don't know why this game cracked me up. It's so weird. So like when you leave, so you get done, you're beating the wolf, right? And the wolf, the wolf gets done getting his ass kicked, and his answer to you is basically, I can't remember what he says, but he ends it with poop. Like, poop, I just lost. What? So you end up on a beach, and Sonic is on the beach, and it's not like he's some hidden cameo either.
No, he's just out there lounging. Does he like say something like cocky too?
Yeah, it's like you're gonna get burned if you touch me or something like that. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. So you're on Anemone Beach. That's where you fight the octopus and
he was fun.
Get the penguin. What'd you guys think of fighting the octopus?
It was easy. I mean, that was very easy.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that was it was nice, quick. Like, I only got to halfway through. No, I didn't get halfway through. I only got to like Lily. That's as far as I got, just with everything coming up. But I mean, up to there, like the bosses seem pretty. I mean, the game is fairly easy. The only time I was dying is just because due to jumping, I was not getting. Like, I was not doing either the timing was not right, or I was not like getting the jump on the ledge kind of deal. Especially that.
I feel like all those edges were fucking mud, and you just like it's as soon as you touch it, whoop, you're done. It wasn't like Zelda where you could scrabble. It just was like, you're off.
I found there was a degree of jank to this game. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the game, but it had some issues. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed this, like when you're swinging your sword, like
it didn't hit shit.
The hit detection was terrible with like if you had to cut grass.
Super bad.
Yep.
I just remember trying to cut grass in front of me. Like, I could just picture this guy out in the field with a sword trying to cut grass. And, like, he's cutting the grass off to the right. And it's like, what the frig? I'm swinging forward.
I wonder if they did it so, like, you would have to actually hit them with the blade instead of, the swing. Even, like, the after the swing in Zelda kind of kills something or something like that, You might miss. They built in a miss factor because you're a kid. Right? Like, it's... Because those friggin' flies or bees were impossible, and they would just push you off the edge or carry you. I couldn't hit those bees to save my life.
Oh, yeah.
The bees were crazy. I would throw my sword at them. That was the only way I could hit anything in this game, was throwing my sword at them.
I could, maybe one or two, and then the rest just friggin' attacked me. I was just running around. Those bees were annoying.
Yeah. Another thing that we haven't talked about is this game differs from Zelda in that Zelda has a clear overworld. This one almost reminds me of and the best I can come up with is like Super Mario World. You know how you go from like level to level? That's how this game works. Like there's not some kind of like unifying overworld that's just a series of levels makes up the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that was different. And some of them were little jaunts and others were like you spent a lot of time there. It wasn't all uniform where you had the level and then you beat the boss. Some were villages, others were like mazes.
I mean, I think the levels were fairly diverse in this. I mean, it's kind of like you got your fire level, you got your ice level, you got your desert level. I mean, it mixed it up. It was pretty good in that aspect. I don't know if you guys noticed the name of like Zelda, you've got something badass like Death Mountain, and in this you got like Hot Daisy,
Burnt Daisy,
Burnt Daisy. What was the other one? Hot Daisy, Burnt Daisy. And what's the other one?
I think that's it. I think that's it. I don't know. Like I just heard that in a southern accent the entire time I was playing this game.
Daisy,
like, hot Daisy. Oh God.
They had the friggin' Tower of Babel built in, like some biblical stuff going on too.
Yeah. Talk about that. That was kind of a neat, or that was weird. That whole thing was weird.
It was random interjection, like, oh, you're here. Oh, just take the express elevator and then you fight a rope. Like, what the fuck was that?
I like how you climb up it, right? And it's like it's talking about how like you're climbing up a rope and there's like a heart on it. And then you get down to the bottom and it's like, I wasn't a rope, and you have to fight this like rope monster thing with a heart.
That rope was actually probably one of the more challenging ones because I couldn't dodge those dick missiles that it was throwing at you.
Yeah.
The whole game lagged for me because I played it on my little Pocket Go. And as soon as it had like 6 missiles in the air, the game slowed way down.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I can't remember what happens. Like, what was it? We lost the ability to speak to animals or something. Like, they tied in the whole Tower of Babel thing pretty good. But like, we fight the rope and we can't get up the tower anymore. I guess we're trying to get up to heaven. So at that point, we're in search of seeds, I believe, because we have to grow a beanstalk to get up to heaven, or the place of peace in this.
Yeah. What was that called? You're on the clouds.
Yeah. We had to go through a couple levels, I think, first before we got up there, though. Like, we had to go to the ice castle, the Castle Frisia, or Frisia. Right. I don't know about that one. That one was kind of a cool level.
I like that one. That was tough. The slipping around, and then you had to equip the... You could go unlock the little fire guy, and he made it way easier. But like, I found if you had that, you had to throw it. Otherwise, those snowmen would jump on you. Because if you threw it with the flame, it would kill him in one hit. But if you didn't get him you had to swing it close. It would take a while.
What I found, I don't know about you, Nick. I found that like when I got going through the game, I played most of the game with the cheetah. Maybe you know what? Maybe we should talk about the animals before we get too far. Do you guys remember what all the animals were and what they did?
Oh man!
So I only got up to having the dog, the cat that'd heal you, the flying squirrel, and the penguin.
So we have Mac the dog, who holds enemies still. We have Flash the cheetah. I don't remember if John, you must have gotten the cheetah during the race.
Yeah, that was so cool too, man. That was fun.
So,
I like that.
So you end up in this race. Did you beat the cheetah outright, or did you bribe him?
Oh, I bribed the hell out of him, dude.
I tried for I don't know how long. I'm like, I'm gonna beat this goddamn cheetah, and I could not beat this cheetah. I was safe stating like a mother, trying to get and I would every corner I'd get around with him. I would I've got the edge on it. And I eventually lost. I gave up and bribed him.
Yeah, the controls weren't that great, so I was like, "Oh, I'll bribe him." I'm not good at controls in this game, so I need all the advantages I can get.
So, Nick, you said you got Cecil the flying squirrel.
Yeah.
He lets you rebound your sword off things.
Yeah, that was pretty badass.
That was so random.
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool because you can just further along your pretty much your distance of your throw too.
Yeah. It was like a good scout. You could see what's there, so you're not jumping into a chasm.
Yeah, I you use that in a lot of places to you'd rebound off something and then it'd ricochet up a couple corridors and it'd trigger something. That's when I found that I would use it the most. Other than that, I really didn't use Cecil a whole lot. Later in the game, there's Dippy the dinosaur. Did you guys remember Dippy?
Yeah, was he... Did he allow you to transport? Was he like your surf TM?
Yeah, he kind of looks like a really...
Let's back up for a hot minute. Did someone just use a Pokemon fucking reference and bitches about it? We're playing Pokemon Snap now, bitch. That is on our list.
Good thing I gave you a fake copy then.
Doesn't matter, it plays. I played it the other night.
Shit, I was hoping you didn't test it yet. That joke failed.
I mean, he looks like a very special version of Lapras. If we're gonna really tie it into Pokemon, he's like this depressed dinosaur just sitting in this mud puddle in the middle of the desert. And he's like, I don't want to.
Yeah, he was Eeyore, man. He was depressed. You had to pull him out of there. See, like, yeah, you got to kill all these monsters, and then you save this depressed ass dinosaur that just wants to die anyway. Like, this game is paradox.
I like that like he's like, oh, I want to stay here. I live in my desert, and the penguin comes out and just bitches him out. I absolutely love that. And it's like, no, you are gonna go. You can do it. This penguin like lets him know what's up. There's Pieces, the caterpillar, who does absolutely nothing except for turn into Monarchy the butterfly, which later lets you guide your sword. That was kind of a cool power-up.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, that was tough though. So like when you first got that at the tower, right? And you got to hit that switch, dude. That that took me like 30 tries because I couldn't get it to curve around that wall. I don't know about you, Matt, but like I had to use the what's his name? I'm drawing a blank here. The guy in the water dungeon. What's his name?
Oh, Leviathan?
That speeds up. Yeah, he speeds up everything, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I had to use that, and still it was sloppy. Like the controls were loose on this with that guide.
I found them to be really floaty. That's the best way I would describe this. Is just things were very, I don't know, slippery. Is that the word I want to use?
I mean, I noticed this games for the controls were just like you said. There's kind of on a like as if some of the ground was kind of icy, especially in like that high wind one. Like it didn't. You were constantly fighting just to stay on, especially if you get on. It's weird because if you're on like the mainland and it had like little openings, you'd fall right off. Yeah, if you jumped in the middle of the water on the fucking boulders, the wind could blow all day long and you would stay right on them. I'm like, what's the concept here?
Selective challenges, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, one of the ones that cracked me up was like later on in the game. We can talk about the time travel thing in a bit, but when you get the armadillo, who you can throw and it turns into a platform, there's a part of the game where like you throw the armadillo down the hole and this armadillo just magically floats in air and lets you jump across this pit, and it's like, what?
I feel like you didn't get enough time with the cool guys like that. You know, the armadillo came so late in the game. It would have been helpful a while before that.
Yeah, that is something like I feel like once I got fully powered up, like when I had I think I played the most of it with like the cheetah and Leviathan. Leviathan is that monster that lets you swing your stuff faster.
Same for me.
I played most of the game with that. Although you could, one of the things I found out later is you could equip both the lion, the fire lion, and the ice penguin, and you think that would neutralize and do no damage whatsoever. You know, you just like cover them in water. I guess it does double the damage.
Huh.
I thought it's just pretty cool, the fact that you have all these, in a sense, animals or partners that you just kind of have you have 16 pretty much partners to choose and kind of mix and match and find whatever your groove was or what suits you best in this situation. So you kind of really had a lot of customability with having those partners. And seeing like, oh, this combo's pretty cool. Oh, this combo's pretty cool. And I mean, I found that just within the first, just playing it for the first hour or two. I thought it was nifty.
Yeah, I mixed them around here and there until I got fully decked out. But I like that you always have two. So you have the combination of two animals and one affects the other. I don't know. I liked it. I don't think you got that with Zelda. I don't know. I guess where I'm going with this is I feel like the animal thing kind of made this game stand out on its own a little bit. I think it's easy for us to like, oh, this is a Zelda clone, but it handled items much differently than Zelda.
Yeah. Life was hard to come by, or hearts, or apples. That
was weird.
Yeah. I didn't get it for a while. I was like, okay, I have 1 life left, but it's just like 1 stock, that number up in the corner, like times X, and then I figured it out. But yeah, you lose them fast in this game because you fall so much. Or at least I did.
And the enemies don't drop them. That was the other thing that I ran into, is like the enemies really don't drop a whole lot in this game.
They don't. Yeah, coins. But then, you can't buy apples anywhere. There's that one girl in the little shanty gypsy village that says for 800 she'll give you 1 extra life or something.
Was that a mermaid?
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Mermaid, yeah.
I never did that because I never had 800, dude. I skipped coins. I didn't collect them as much.
I love how like the game, like right off the bat, like the game, like you go and you visit the mermaid off the start, and she's like, "You probably couldn't afford this." This game is just like dangle it in front of you how much you suck, like right off the bat.
Right. There were a lot of hidden things too. Like I tried to collect some of the golden apples, and it took me a while. And there was that one in Soleil when you start out, and you had to. The cow was like, "Oh, hey man, it's you're gonna go find that flower
and jump."
And jump on it."
Yeah, I got that.
Dude, that was I did that, but it took me a while, like staring at it to figure out which one was going the other way because the graphics were a little janky on my little emulator thing. So
I can imagine the screen was probably bugging your eyes out.
Oh my god, it's so small. It hurts. But yeah, that was unique. Like there were harder little puzzles in this. Like, oh, you jump 3 times, or you're gonna jump on this one spot, because things weren't as apparent as like a Zelda where there's a crack in the wall, right?
Yeah, it was. Is obtuse the word I want to use here?
That seems to be fitting. Yeah.
Oh man. So let's see, bosses. I'm going down through the list of bosses. So what did you think of the shuffler?
That was weird. Like, I had a hard time for, like, at one point, it came to a point where when I was going against him, it wasn't that I couldn't keep track of him, but sometimes he'd end up next to other, like, the fake, and I ended up fucking hitting the fake, not him.
Because you couldn't really hit anything that you wanted to in this game.
So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it wasn't that. I didn't find it hard myself. Like, okay, let's do this, and then I'm like, no, I hit him. I fucking hit him. Oh no, he's right next to the thing. It's because the hit detection sucks balls.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad. Once I looked on a little guide, and they're like, oh yeah, do this. So that helped a little bit.
I found it weird that, and I think you fight him in Hot Daisy, and I think that I get the daisies mixed up, but whatever. I believe in the daisies. That's the one where you find the bird, right? And it's just like there's a bird. It's burnt.
It's not actually a bird. It's like a burnt branch.
Burnt, yeah.
Oh, it's a branch. See, I thought it was a bird. So what is that?
It's just a burnt branch. It's all. It actually says it's not. Oh, we thought it was a bird. Oh, it's actually a branch.
Oh.
He actually says if you actually look and not talk to it, but like inspect it, it's a branch or like something like that.
Did it heal you?
No, it didn't do nothing. It had no effect.
No.
You had to go back in the.
It's more or less to catch your attention.
It's so weird. All right, so we talked about Roxy. Georama, which is like the slime boss in the ice castle.
That wasn't hard at all. You just swap out. Yeah, you swap the fire guy for the ice guy, and
yeah, because like he would turn red when you needed to hit him with ice, and he would turn blue when you needed to hit. Or was it blue or purple? Whatever it was, you needed to hit him with fire.
Yeah. None of the bosses were that challenging.
Oh, I'd argue differently on one of them.
Yeah? Which one was tough for you?
Moldra was a bitch for me.
Yeah.
The one that I thought was the weirdest was Leviathan, though. That was like the strangest, like, The one where you have to like pong fight and save your mom.
Right? Yeah, and she's not your mom. Who's like, oh, I just used it. Like, this guy seems like God, amongst the monsters, and he's only like halfway through the game.
So I jotted down the text of that fight because it was so friggin' absurd, right?
Yeah.
So you go in there and to fight this monster, and you can't do anything. Like, you're basically locked in this room until you do something. Like, you go in there and he's like, I will not forgive anyone who taints this tranquil sea with their bloodshed and massacre. So it's like, all right, whatever, I guess I'm here. I'm going to have to hit him. So I did. So then he comes up and he's like, so you like to fight, huh? Prepare yourself. I will take something you hold very dearly. Take a good look. Ha ha ha. And then he like brings your mom into the fight. It's like, what?
Yeah. And then he could heal himself. If the little orb energies got to her, it would replenish his health.
It's so weird. He's like, here's your mother. Now prepare for battle. My attacks will go in every direction. I hope it doesn't hit your mother. Ha 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 ha. It's like, what?
Yeah, that was odd.
And then, like, your mom, like, I don't know how your mom, and I guess it's believable, whatever, but she's like, I don't know what's going on, but don't worry about me. Just fight. My life is nothing. Just be careful with yours and do the best. Like, that's not what any mom would do if they like got teleported out of their house into this cavern with you and this big friggin' dragon, water dragon. Like, my mom would flip her shit.
I was going to ask, what do you think our mothers would do if that happened?
I don't even know. My mom would go into meltdown mode.
Mine would try to throw shit at it.
Well, exactly. My mom would go crazy and probably end up dying because she was stupid enough to go like, I'll attack it. Like, oh, no, Ma. Yeah. No. Oh, shit.
This would have been a good game to play on Mother's Day. This would be a good Mother's Day game.
Mom, I'm celebrating you today by playing this.
Did you guys...
Go for it.
Did you get that when you go back to the town after you get all 3 medals and there's that empty house and it's like, oh, son, can I borrow 10 Molins? And it's actually the raccoon impersonating your mother? Do you remember that part?
Yep. Wong
the raccoon. So 2 times that they use your mother as a ruse in this game.
Yeah, Wong. I never used Wong. Wong would let you like deploy a decoy of yourself.
Yep.
But it is funny that like Wong impersonates your mom, like impersonates people's mothers to get money from the hero. So let's see. We've done those. So we go back. I think after this point, we've got Leviathan. I believe we've got the seed. Whatever we need to do to plant our beanstalk, and we end up back at the Tower of Babel. Seed. Yeah.
Yep.
So then we end up at the top of the Tower of Babel, and this place is just like, if this is what heaven is, then I'm very annoyed with it on several levels. But it's like an obstacle course. This like weird jumping obstacle course in the sky. What'd you think of that part, John? Nick,
that was a little tough, dude. There was that one where that one you had to backtrack a lot too. Like you keep hitting switches. I didn't die on this one, but I was pretty low health, and it was good that there was that woman that healed you before you go in. Like, she was the only healer in the game, I think, right? Up in the little cloud city.
Nah, you talk to the lady in the wolf cabin. I think your mom heals you too.
Oh, okay. All right. I never went back to the town. But yeah, that was the puzzle was good. It was tough, especially that long jump where you have to like cling on to the little staging.
Yeah.
Mesh. Yeah.
I can't remember. Was the obstacle course before or after the hippie garden?
After.
Okay, so yeah. I missed that. I made a joke about how Nick is up in this cloud because there was this one person you go and you talk to him and they're like, oh, I like being up here. No one makes fun of me for being a geek.
Wow.
And then there was a chicken that was happy that it wasn't going to get turned into fried chicken. Did you talk to that one?
No. I went around the little fountain and then I just jumped ahead.
Oh, the people up there are weird. It's basically like this like it's like this hippie garden in the sky. And the thing is, like, it's supposed to be heaven, right? But if you talk to this one guy, he's like, I guess I have to go back down. You know, I have to go back down, like, my family and my wife and stuff like that. But it's such a hard journey. So it's like people at any time could have gone up to heaven and just chilled out in this, like, wonderful hippie garden. And instead they stay down on the bottom, just, like, slashing monsters because reasons. I don't know.
Yeah. How'd they get up there, man? Did the rope just let them up there and not you?
That's
or was there
question.
a vine at one time? Must have been.
What I want to know is, like, did the vine get cut and this, like, rope monster is like, that's a good job for me.
Just let some people up. Not this kid though. Fuck that kid. He doesn't deserve it. He's gonna fight me. I probably had the toughest time with the rope guy.
Yeah.
And Maldra was a close second, but yeah, the rope guy was a bitch.
Maldra was a bitch for me. Nick, did you see Maldra at all? Did you get that far?
Which one was that? No, I didn't. Like I said, I got this up to two. I get the 4 creatures, so the 4 animal friends, and that was about it. As far as I got to in the game.
So Maldra is like this dragon, right, with a shield and a sword, and it's pretty cool. Like, the dragon flies out from the bottom of this, like, floating island you're on, but if you attack him head on, he blocks, like, all the shots that you throw at him.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what you did, John, but, like, I kept, like, luring him down to the bottom of the level, and then I'd run up to the top and, like, hit him a bunch of times, and I'd keep, like, doing that.
Yep. And then you run down. You just kind of do a loop because, like, you could dodge his lightning and his tail. But I took some hits on that one, and I couldn't tell when I hit him because it felt like you got hit too. When you smacked him, because he just kind of, like, hovered over you. So yeah, he was tricky.
And I can't remember what happens. You beat Maldra, and, like, you get chewed out. I think Maldra chews you out, and it's like, this was supposed to be this thing, and you ruined everything now. But I think that's when you get the ability, right? Isn't that when you can talk to humans again?
Yeah, because this guy, he restored your power.
Man, this game's so weird. Like, you get to a point in the game where, like, there's this, like, weird time travel element to it, which it's out of the blue. I don't know if you caught that at all. This whole, like, back in time thing.
No, I skipped a lot of text.
So, like, this is the part where you get, like, the tornado, where you end up in, like, the.
You went back in time for that? Okay.
That's actually you going back in time.
No,
like,
shit.
That's what all those things are. So, like, when you go back to the desert, that's the desert in the past when you're, like, running around. Like, would you think of the desert level where, like, all the people are like trying to get you to go above the 3rd floor?
Huh.
You didn't read any of that?
No, I kind of. I hurried up the last because it was a tight finish for me.
Yep.
On this game, so I kind of rushed the end.
So, like, there's this castle or this, like, pyramid thing in the desert, and you go in there and all these people are talking about how it's basically like the Salem witch trials, and, like, anyone that can go above the 3rd floor is basically being branded as a monster. And you walk around and all these people are like, oh, this one girl, like, makes her way up to the 3rd floor and comes back and, like, it's like, no, I promise I'm not a monster, but they think I am because I was able to go up. It's so strange. Trying to think what else happened in this one. My notes are so shitty on this, to be honest with you.
Can't read your own handwriting? I'm shocked.
It's just, it's kind of like a quick lift. But, like, you have, like, 5 levels in a row where you go back in time and try to fix things. Like, and that's another thing, like, why are you fighting a chameleon? Like, you go back in time to fight this, like, weird chameleon thing.
Yeah.
It just, the bosses, like, didn't really, I don't know. It didn't really fit what you were doing.
Right. Yeah, they didn't seem to match their setting. But I mean, Zelda, some of the bosses in Zelda didn't either. I'm still going to go with this comparison because honestly, this game feels like Zelda but looks like Secret of Mana.
It did, yeah, kind of with the colors because it's very bright. This game was very bright, so it kind of fell into like this typical Sega game, the brightness there, the nice colors. I think something that this game like differed though is because Sega was meant to be the cool kid console when it was developed, and it was their the reason the Genesis was developed was supposed to be for teenagers, and that was the age group that are really like mid to late teens, is what the Sega was supposed to be for. So this game was also kind of out of the box because they didn't know how it was going to do for them because it wasn't something they typically did. They were like, how is this going to do in America? It did well in Japan and Europe, but they were really concerned of how it would actually do in the Americas.
So I'm going to agree with some of what you said and disagree with some others.
Oh, really?
I love the colors in this game. I thought this game was absolutely gorgeous. But one of the things that kind of annoyed me with the colors in this game is why don't all Sega games have such vivid colors like this? Like, I don't know if it's just my impression of Sega. I know the Genesis didn't have the palette that the Super Nintendo had. I get that. But when I think of Genesis games outside of Sonic, they're all like heavy on the black, heavy on like grays and browns. Like the color palette that I find a lot of, I find Genesis games really, really ugly. So to play a game like this,
Matt, you're breaking my heart right now. You are literally breaking my heart.
Remember my analogy, Nick?
Oh,
this is like, what was it? Tycho and Zelda's like Lego.
Oh, blow me, John.
what was the analogy?
Cock right down to the balls, this is you bastard.
Crusader. Nick, get off your phallic obsession for a second. This is Crusader of Centy is like Mega Bloks, and Legend of Zelda is Lego.
Oh,
it's just subpar, man.
Oh.
You know, not a slight to this game. It's a good game.
We're gonna jump on the fallacy a little bit more. Why don't you sit on Nintendo's dick a little bit harder? Because that's what you're doing right now. You're just grinding.
No, I'm just appreciating. I'm agreeing with everybody else ever right now.
I just so this game, like I love this game. Like I thought this game was so quirky and weird. Like the whole like I don't know. It kind of went off the rails when it tried to teach you a moral thing. You know, like the monsters are actually good. I'm gonna turn on kill them anyways. Frig it. But I don't know. Like it had some jank to it, but like. It was different than a lot of Genesis games. I don't know, Nick. What Genesis games do you think look absolutely stunning?
Absolutely stunning?
Like beautiful games. Like I find Genesis ugly.
I mean, I grew up with it, so I thought they're all great games. I mean,
I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying like color palette choices.
Good. I thought good color palette. The Toe Jam Earl series.
That was weird. That looks like Rocco's Modern Life, man.
That was a good one because I think
it's a good game.
I think the colors was to fit the more edgy looking crowd, like something that looked grown up. It didn't look cartoonish. It didn't look silly. So I think that's typically what Sega tried to do. It didn't really care about. It didn't care about the total cell shading on everything. It didn't really need everything to be crisp and like cartoony.
Yeah, I guess to be fair, some of the early Super Nintendo games are pretty ugly too. Like Final Fantasy II is pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's not great.
But yeah, I like that. What do you guys think of the music?
It was funky.
It was good. I liked it.
I love how every boss fight was that hard rock and roll.
I love it. That's like the most metal track that you can get in a Genesis game.
Yeah. So the audio on the Pocket Go isn't great. So all throughout my adventure, it would just skip. So it sounded like I had a shitty CD that was all scratched up because it there's that little like trumpet sound as you're going through all the levels.
Yep.
And it does those little things. It just go like it skipped a bunch for me, so it was kind of funny. And it happened more so when there was more going on the screen. So this game pushed the limits of a Pocket Go for anybody that is listening that is considering one of these nifty little items.
I read a review on the Pocket Go. It's actually one of the top rated for its price range.
Yeah, well, it lagged on this one, so there we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
For what?
$25.
Yeah, I said for $25, you can't really beat that.
Yeah. Can't do. It's cheap.
I think for the most part that does it for me on this game. I didn't have a ton to say on it because one, it's hard to explain what you're actually doing in this game without like going, I went here, then I did this, then I did this, then I did this. I think we touched on the high points of like what made this game. I don't know. Maybe some closing thoughts would be in order of just like what we thought of this thing in sum.
I do want to say something for you, Matt. Thank you for picking a Sega game. Because it wasn't me that picked it, and I think if it was me, John would be like, oh, look, Nick's picking another Sega game.
Hey, I'd appreciate Sega over Pokemon.
Well, you got Pokemon Snap coming. Pokemon Snap's coming.
So going back, Nick, you were the first to pick. Well, you picked several Sega games. You picked Sonic the Hedgehog twice, but we lost that episode, so that doesn't count. And then you did Crystal Warriors for Game Gear.
Yeah, I was trying to stay in there. I think I'm gonna, not to deviate too much, but I think I might go another Sega-esque game as what platform. Or like, I think I might go for another Sega product here down the road.
The Genesis and the Master System have a ton to offer. I've got a Saturn game on my list, which you guys all know because I made you download it.
Yeah, you bastard.
Oh yeah.
So I've got one on the horizon, but we try on this, I think, to mix up our game picks. And I know when we started off at first, we were kind of Nintendo heavy, but like. Looking at what we've picked in the past couple ones, and then like some of the things you guys have been throwing out for like future things, we've got some weird stuff coming. We could talk about that a little bit in next, because one thing I wanted to do with this episode is like talk about what our plans are for the next year. But I don't know, maybe some closing thoughts on Centy.
I'm not gonna stop playing
Weirdest boss fight ever. The 5 senses, like that was funky, man. One of them's like Pac-Man.
Oh yeah, talk about that. I can't believe we missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get the 5 senses as boss fights, right? And they're all different. They weren't that difficult. A couple of them were a little tricky, but by that point you had your badass little companions that like there was a combo you could do where you could stick a weapon to the boss and it would just smack them a bunch of times. So like yeah. That made quick work of them, but there was one where you had to eat apples. You couldn't hit the guys, the tongues or the mouths or whatever that were patrolling around like the ghosts in Pac-Man. Yeah. And then
I had a hard time with smell. Smell was a hard one for me because I don't know what it was. Like you try to get that guy to like walk over the spikes. But when I kept doing that one, whenever I went to set off the spikes, I would always hit a spike when I did it. So I'd lose a life every time I hit him.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of these guys where you just had to trade punches because you had more life than they did.
And I didn't get the whole monster mother thing before we got here because I didn't really understand, like, all these things take place in the past. Not to get into what we did in Body Harvest, but, like, this game has this weird time travel element to it, but it makes absolutely no sense. It's like you go to these places, fix something that happened in the past, and then you're magically, like, instantly hitting that tornado takes you to the past. You fix it and you come forward. And you fight this, like, heart thing, and it doesn't even attack you, if I remember right. And then it talks about how, like, you're the problem or something like that. But then like you're in the present again, and then I think that one monster's the one that like lets you in to fight these five senses. I don't actually know what's going on. It was strange as hell when you got to that ending boss. Yeah, I guess my closing thoughts on this one, I really liked it, but I honestly struggle with how I would explain this to somebody other than like talking about Zelda. Because like the mechanics of it, I love the animal thing. That was cool, mixing and matching animals and getting abilities. But you know, the game, it was a fun game. But it wasn't overly complicated. It didn't really have, it didn't have a ton of meat to it, to be honest with you. I guess I would have expected a lot more meat. Not to say I didn't enjoy it, but
it was quick. Yeah, it only took 5 hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours total. With backtracking and dying.
I picked an action RPG, and I'm like, I'm going to get a couple hours out of this one. I'll have something to talk about. And then, like, the development is kind of... There wasn't a whole lot in the development other than what I mentioned earlier. And then the story is just so bonkers. Like... Yeah.
But did you guys ever read... There was a book series called... it was Redwall.
I know of it.
Yeah.
I know...
So this guy wrote about, it was set in more medieval times with like animals, with creatures, wild creatures. And so I was thinking about this, and this would be like, if I was a kid, if I was like 8 years old, because I read the Redwall series at that point, like, we were reading those, and because I was a nerd, and I read as much as I could back then. And I played Zelda. So this would be like if I had a fever dream after I read a chapter in a Redwall book and played Zelda. Like that's what this game is, because it's all fucked up and rather weird, like fever dreams are. So those would be influencing you in your fever dream.
Yeah. This was a weird one. Nick, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm gonna still keep on playing it through, even though I didn't finish it in a timely manner. Definitely keep on playing. I think it's fun. I think it is a game that can move pretty quickly and easily.
Yep.
And it has, a lot. It's just fun. I think for Sega to even like put out really something like this was good for them. It wasn't their typical game, and it was just like I thought when I first started, I'm like, I'm not going to like this. I was pushing off playing it. And then when I did start actually get a chance to play it, I was addicted. I could keep on going and going. Like, I had to force myself to go to bed. I'm like, oh, this is really fun. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. Getting these animals. That's nifty.
I got mad at some of the puzzles when you have to jump, because I died. Because, like, the edges were so slippery.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurt.
The desert. I had a problem with the little the things that like the trying to move around the desert when you have the quicksand things that spiral you.
Yeah, the zoomy scoots.
I guess you could just take the Dippy the dinosaur and ride over it, but I didn't realize that until after I'd already done it.
Yep. Yeah, he lets you go wherever, but yeah, before you get him, you have to do a desert level, and you got to go through a bunch of those things. Good game, Matt. I liked it.
All in all, I recommend it. It was a weirdo, and it's hard to talk about because I don't understand the story at all, but I recommend it.
Same Hizzard.
All right, boys. So, one of the things that I wanted to do, and I'll be honest, I spent some time just jotting down some things. So, we are in the new year. So, one of the things that, we're not going to have time to do a full New Year's episode, but looking back in our first year of podcasting, what were your favorite moments? And when I say first year, I mean going back to our first episode, because they were recorded in the past, but everything that we've had was released this year. Your favorite moment so far?
Oh, Nick, you go first, man.
My favorite moments? I think just starting this. I think because we've been talking about this podcast for such a long time, and we finally executed on it, and finally go. And I just enjoy these times just because I think now during this pandemic that we are going through, and still probably going to be going through for some time. Probably not as severe as when it first started, but I enjoy these times being able to connect with you guys because we're not all in the same place. We're not like we're 5 minutes away or anything from each other. So it's just great, especially to be able to kind of vent, talk out, what we do, what we like to do for these video games, even if our significant others are making fun of us in other rooms. It's just good.
Yes, yes, they are.
And they'll probably do it again. But it's just fun, talking with you guys. Obviously, our listeners probably hear us, bitching, saying rude things to each other. But for us, it's all love, obviously, and it's just great just to, have fun.
John, what are your favorite moments?
Oh, I remember going back to the first episode where there's a lot of boxed wine for me throughout these podcasts. So that was pretty good, man. I don't know. I like the turbo rounds, just the random questions that we can come up with and be weird. I do enjoy those.
Nick, the God of Depression, is on my favorite.
That's
things.
so funny. That was so just based out of nowhere. Nick, you're great, man. Your comedic timing is on point.
The other one that I have was Nick was a lot of my favorite moments. Nick with the goddamn casting the Donkey Kong movie.
That was so random.
I don't know what game, Nick, that you could replicate that with, because I don't know what game has that many identifiable characters in it that you all right, I could, but oh my god, did I?
Is that a challenge?
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose if you can one up Donkey Kong.
Well, I guess that's something we have to look forward to in the future then.
Right?
John, I know you're sick of her, but I laughed extremely hard at Gwen when Nick first had his Gwen comment. I know it's played out now, but I remember how friggin' hard we laughed and at Nick shitting on Gwyneth Paltrow. Maybe in the upcoming year we should find a new celebrity to shit on.
And there's missing pieces of that too, because our lost episodes that will never be heard of. I'm sure there's some more of that material. And then the fact that we had to boomerang with that stuff anyways, because, we were afraid of stepping on toes when we first started doing this. And then we just threw caution to the wind. And here we are with phallic boy Nick, every month.
Yeah. We just dropped so at the time we're recording this, we just dropped Cave Story, and that was the one where Nick was going on and on about furries. It's oh my god, I'm gonna get a complaint. Somebody's gonna get So if you are a furry, Nick craps on you.
I don't mean anything by it by any chance. I really don't. I really just whatever comes to my mind, I'm
your mind goes to sex, no matter what the topic is.
I mean,
you name a hobby, and you're gonna tie it to sex, no matter what it is.
You guys know both about behind the curtain stuff for me, so are you shocked?
You think about boobs more than anybody I've ever met.
All right. Any other favorite moments, or we jump on the next thing, which is our favorite game that we've played so far?
Ooh. No, go ahead.
I was thinking about that. I think Nick may be the most boob thinker out there.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite game? I don't know. I really liked playing ActRaiser. I think that may have been my favorite game. I mean, I love Battle of Olympus, and you guys will not budge an inch on that one. But
I would have if it was a linear progression and it didn't just destroy you immediately.
I think I brought out the big guns too early. I think if I had brought that out now, you might have been a little softened up. But I brought you out, unlubed, and that's what I get.
You are a masochistic gamer, and I've figured this out. Nick is a furry, and you are a masochist.
Nick, the tables have turned on you.
I don't mind.
I don't know what I am. I just pick obscure game. I try to pick obscure games that nobody's done podcasts on before.
I'm trying to think. Mine are between. I have two so far. I think it's between Castlevania, Army Destiny.
Oh, that was
pretty good.
That was really
yeah.
fun. Like I really
that was
enjoyed
a great game. Yep.
And Link's Awakening.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Just because those two, and neither were one. Castlevania was my game, which is weird because I figured Matt was gonna be the first one to pick a Castlevania game. Because both those really harked back to my childhood, and they really came through very much, and more so than even Super Mario World. Like those two games were the ones. I mean, I think probably I'd lean more towards Link's Awakening, but Castlevania was really close too.
I agree with you, man. I think Castlevania was my favorite. That was a solid pick.
I might tweak mine because I really like that one too. I played the other GBA Castlevanias, but not that one. And it was I loved. I don't know why that Castlevania, at least in my mind, is overlooked compared to some of the other ones. I had a hell of a lot of fun time playing that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think those. Yeah, that definitely. And I'm looking forward to the stuff we have coming up too. I think are we going to jump into what we're offering these lovely listeners coming forward?
Yeah. Hold on. Least favorite game, Nick.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite that we've
Body
done
Harvest
so far? Yeah.
And just because it was just so janky playing. And I mean, granted, I don't know if it would have been any better if I played on because I did emulate that bad boy just because the only way I could do it. I didn't have a N64 at that time. But, I mean, it was just janky, just playing. And I don't know if it's just console or if it's just... It didn't age well. I think that game never aged what it should have. By no means.
I don't know. I can look through a lot of stuff with rose-colored glasses, and I played that one, and I hated it. I forced myself every night to play the first 30 minutes of it over and over and over until
I felt pancaked, man.
And just done. I'm like, fuck this game.
Yep.
Fuck this game.
Is it the one game, the first game that none of us actually finished?
We always have someone that finishes the game in some way. Like one of us will.
None of us finished that one, I think.
No, John and I made it to the second level. And that was it.
That was ridiculous.
And usually one of us always finishes the game in one form. I was the only one that finished, surprisingly, the longest fucking game we ever played. Final Fantasy.
Yeah. That was a great game too. I just I stalled out because I was grinding.
Yeah, but I think I found your niche. I found your niche. I just need to find a good grinder for you.
I have a game that I'm batting around in my mind if I want to reshuffle my list and force it upon John. I think you would like it, Nick. I think John would absolutely crawl out of his skin and want to like bang his head through a wall. It's a dungeon crawler on the SNES, and I think he would hate it. Every second of it, he would hate it.
What is it?
A game called Arcana.
Never heard of it.
It was made by HAL, the same people who made Kirby and Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, they're good guys.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna say that. I want to play.
How do you spell it?
Arcana. I want to play it so bad. The other one I was thinking I'm making you play, they're fan translated. I was going to make you play a Shimigami Tensei game, and because I want to do a dungeon crawler, and I think you will hate your life.
You got to take Japanese or something, dude.
What's that?
I said for one of I think we're gonna. Never mind. I'm gonna stow that. Forget I said stuff.
I have
got something coming up.
I have 2 games in my upcoming run that are translated. One of them is geared toward you, John, and you will like it. Nick, I don't know. You might like it. The other one is geared toward Nick, and John, you'll hate it. It is a strategy RPG.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yum, yum. Love them.
So, all right. So we all agree on least favorite game being Body Harvest across the board.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Plans for next year in your collecting and or just gaming overall. What you plan on doing?
So I have.
Nick, you go first.
I actually have I think I have a good plan lined up. I do want to get 2 consoles. I want to get 2 consoles, and I want to get one fixed. I have a television that needs to be fixed. And I want to get a 3DO.
Goddamn 3DO.
Because I really want to put you through a game in the future. And I don't know how we're going to do it. If we can find some way for you guys. But I want to put you guys through Hell Cyberpunk Thriller.
Okay. All right.
It's a fun.
Right.
I love the game. I think Matt, you'd like it actually. And
All right.
I think John, you might even like it too. It's the kind of it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle oriented game, by the way. So it's something kind of out of my. I think I'm picking something random for John. So I think that's something you guys will like down the road. Other thing I'm looking to pick up as well, besides a 3DO, I was kind of looking at getting an actual NES as well down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have for like something in that. I mean, I got, and maybe even an Atari down if I can find a cheap Atari as well. Those ones, but actually, kind of also for a handheld, I want to get a working capped Game Gear.
Your holy grail.
That is my holy. It really is. It's just because I got one as a kid, and I came from a very poor family, so having that was really awesome. I mean, granted, I was stuck to the wall with my AC adapter playing it, but it was just fun because I always enjoyed it, having that for a little like it was my first real handheld I actually had. So, but that and probably. Besides that, strengthen my collection probably definitely on Sega and N64 as well.
John, what you got?
All right. I don't know my games yet. I have too many consoles right now that are still in totes. Like I don't have them set up. So I've been kicking this around with you guys in pictures and once in a while I'll be like, man, I need to get a setup because I traded an old table for my neighbor's giant 80-pound CRT TV that I'll just set up in our little guest room here and play a console. I'll take the tote up and I'll unpack everything, and then my kid will get it and kick the console and erase everything. So that was tough. I'd like to get an actual setup. So we have for listeners, I don't know if I've ever said this before, but my house is older than America. It was built in 1750, and we have a big living room, and it's really nice. It has these somebody did these built-in cabinets. They have doors underneath and then shelves, and in the corner they built this in the 90s. So there's a big corner shelf that has like 3 levels, and it fits like a 27-inch CRT TV. And when we moved in, I just stuck a little shelf on, and I put our flat screen on, and then finally I built a bracket, and I mounted our television so it's flush now, and it looks great, and I have surround sound. I'm kind of an audiophile a little bit still, so we have surround sound, and everything's sweet, but setting up consoles is a nightmare for me because I have to unpack everything, and I got them all in the cabinets below, and it's just wires and messy. So I have this dream, and I've been on the subreddit retro gaming, and it's all these nerdy dads like us that show off their setups, and they have these it's awesome. So like I have set up envy right now, and I think I could build something pretty cool with my space. So that's my goal, is to build something where I can have my consoles and a CRT TV behind my flat screen.
You want to flip up, right?
I want to do a flip up. I know that it can be done. I'm an engineer. I'm kind of dumb, but I think there's some brain cells left that could figure this out. So 2021.
Maybe that should be our project for 2021. Get each other set up for everyone. Like, work on you first, get you set up, then just work on Matt, then me, and just so we have a full nice setup where we can go down and escape.
Yeah. We'll all get something going. You guys have your own spaces for that somewhat. Matt, I know you have a little office that you got with your consoles on the wall and the beanbag chair that probably still has some of my beer on it.
Guarantee it does. Guarantee it.
Probably not just beer.
No. I don't know I hope no one banged on that. I really do.
No, nobody. I don't know of anybody.
No.
I didn't do that.
I know for my plans, I don't know if you got any more than that, John.
No, that's it, man. I got so much stuff. It's overflowing from my storage areas, and my wife's like, you don't need any more crap. So, yeah, that's my wife's voice. Sorry, I love you. Don't listen to us.
One of the things shelving is something that you mentioned, and shelving is something that I got to do because I've dumped all my stuff. It's kind of all gotten compacted in this office, but it's all just stacked up behind me. It's not nicely arranged or anything. It's just like a bunch of games thrown up on this ledge that I've got in this room. Like, it looks like shit in here. I mean, it's away. The kids aren't going to destroy it, but I really got to get some shelves. Another thing that I want to do is that Xbox that I have that's out of commission. I want to get a mod chip installed in that one. Get my soldering iron out, get that up and running so it can run things off the hard drive. I want to in 2021 get a hold of a GBA and put a screen in it. So nice. I can have. I've talked about that for a while, and that's something I got to pull the trigger on. And I think lastly. I find prices are coming down on Super Nintendo games. They went crazy in April. It was like everyone got trapped at home, and if they had a job, they had a little bit extra cash. Maybe they weren't paying for a commute. Maybe some of the stimulus money hit them. Super Nintendo prices went friggin' insane in April.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. So they've come down to a level where it's like, if I'm choosy, I can pick up some of the games that I've wanted in my collection. That's the one I want to collect for. I have the most love for Super Nintendo. So those are my plans. The last thing that I have for you guys for our 2020/2021 transition look back, whatever you want to call it, podcast plans. What do you guys want to do in 2021? What would mix it up, make it fun? What do you guys want to see in 2021?
I think I definitely want to get our presence out there more. Definitely through social media, really start getting some back and forth with listeners and getting more listeners, definitely. I know, Matt, you're toying with the idea of getting an actual website up and going for us. And I think that's
January.
Great. And you even threw out the idea, or I threw out the idea, of maybe streaming.
Yeah, I think you're probably better set up for that anyways, because you've got experience in the realm of cameras and all that type of stuff.
I have the lighting. I have what it takes to do it. It's just, getting some things and learning. It doesn't take much. I've been doing some research, and honestly, I could probably get a setup for what I currently have for probably with a $200 budget. So that way I could stream, and I'd stream definitely the retro games. I wouldn't probably do any new games at all, so I'd find a way to stream all our retro games I played, and maybe do like a look back of games, like do a quick playthrough and see, just have it. So we, while we're playing the game, or I'm playing the game, and I'll be playing a game, someone can actually interact and they can see it, then hear, my input onto it as we played it for the podcast.
Yeah. No, that'd be good. That'd be good. You mentioned website. I want to drop that in January. I'm getting closer on that. I'm still puttering around here and there, but my goal is to have a website done in January. That's my plan. I can't guarantee it.
Solid. I think that allows us some more avenues as well, where if people want to join in and I was thinking about this too. Like if we're playing a certain game, we put it out there that like somebody could do like a challenge, on a certain level or something like that, and then kind of throw it out there and see if anybody wants to do that. If they have bragging rights, like see if you can beat Matt at Battle of Olympus on this thing or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely want to be more interactive with folks out there.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to build our social media presence as well. I think you've been spot on, Matt. So,
one of the things that I have in my notes is I like that our picks are interesting. I found we were I think our earlier picks were on the safer end, and Nick, I'll give you some credit here. John gets the credit for going real weird early, but actually your pick of Crystal Warriors was I think one of the starting ones where we kind of scratched our head and said, "Wow, what's going on here?"
Oh,
and
I feel like I remember which one that was. The pig butt.
Pig butt.
Pig butthole.
No, that was Star Tropics.
Oh,
that's Star Tropic. Yeah. Those are all well known, and I think you took a risk on that one, and then John did Body Harvest, and that was a risk. I look at what we've got potentially coming up in 2021. We've picked for picks, and we've got some big games, like some well known games. So it's not like we're leaving people like, oh, these guys are just going off and like doing some weird stuff. Like but some of the picks, some of the ideas that you guys have tossed around, that I've tossed around, like there's a good mix of like games that people know. And there's a good mix of like games that people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this? So I like that. Thanks to you both on forging that path.
Well, we're gonna play some Bomberman games too, by the way.
Yeah.
We've talked an awful lot about Paul. I think guests would be interesting. I'd like to get Paul on. I'd like to get Justin on to do Command and Conquer.
That's his.
I feel like some of our buddies join us, and we'd have to get the technology figured out so that they call in. But I think having folks come on and talk about the games they loved, join us on that. I think would be fun.
For Justin alone wouldn't be a hard one. I can always have him over. He's only right down the road from me.
Yeah. Yep. And then lastly, John, are we ever going to get a new theme from you?
Oh, crap. Yep. Well, I got to get GarageBand fired up, or apparently, my phone's been listening to me talk because it keeps sending me ads for these MIDI controllers. It's like a tiny keyboard with a couple drum pads on there.
Nice.
And it's just plug and play, because when I moved my home office down to our porch area, I had my old digital piano from when I was a kid, and I never actually hooked that up to a computer. It was from the 90s, so it probably would be antiquated by now anyway. But I sold that to make room for work, and so yeah, my birthday's in 2 days, so I'll have some birthday cash probably, from older relatives that still do that, even though I tell them not to. So I might look into buying one of those little mini synth touch pads and cranking out some funky beats. I want to do like a mashup of video game themes, and I don't know the copyright infringement that I would be enacting.
I think we're already infringing on it. I mean, I think it's. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Fair use, and that's really a defensive thing. It's not really, you kind of do it, I think, until someone tells you not to. But
right?
It's not like we're making any money off this. Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage has not written us any checks yet. Our number one sponsor hasn't come through.
Yeah, for shame.
I think there's other meme companies that we might be able to track down.
Yeah.
I think we need to go off John's sound from playing Smash Brothers. His
I wish you had recorded me breaking my phone that one time.
We should use that.
I don't even know. I went. Oh, The Exorcist. I did that.
Well, Nick or John, do you guys want to close us out, shut her down, wrap up our first episode in 2021?
2020 sucked balls. Sucked so much balls that I actually would have probably mind playing Body Harvest again. 2020.
Don't wish that. It might happen.
Oh boy. 2021.
Yeah. Hey, we're making progress, guys. You know, I think it's only looking good from here on out.
So, just a reminder, our website, our address right now, which is really just a link to Podbean until we have something a little more permanent, is spin-retro.com. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at spin-retro. If you guys like what you hear, please leave us a kind review on any of the services that you use. Again, if you don't like what we're doing, send it to our socials. We'll get it off to John. John is, in fact, the complaint department. All complaints go to John.
Yep. Got experience, you know, in that department.
All right, that does it. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Later.